to Essential Stitches. Today we are going to be learning how to make a short dress with a peplum hand or a flare hand, however you want to call it. Please don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel, click on the like button, and follow us on other social media platforms. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Essential Stitches. Now today, these are the things that we need. We need measurement tape, we need scissors, we need chalk. I'm using two different colors because of the color of the dress, and then we need our pins. Now I have 2.5 yards here because of the flare hand. That's why I'm using a 2.5 yards. So let's fold the fabric and see what it's going to look like. Okay, so the measurements that we need for this short dress is we need the shoulder, the bust. Let me be showing you. We need the shoulder, the bust, shoulder to the bust, then half length, round waist, sleeve, round sleeve, which will be used as the armhole, then the hips and the gown length. Now note that the shoulder is 14 inches. It will be divided by 2, which is 7. Then we add half inch, that's 0.5. It gives us 7.5. Then the bust is 35 divided by 4, 8.5 plus 2 inches gives us 10.5. Then the shoulder to bust is constant, 10. Half length is constant. Round waist is 30 divided by 4, and what we need here is 9.5. Every other thing here the same thing. Then the hip is divided by the hip is 38 divided by 4. That's equals to 9.5 plus 2. That's 11.5. So what we are folding with is the hip measurement, because that's like the highest measurement that we have on our measurement here. We are folding with the hip measurement. Please give me the white measurement tape. So we are folding with the hip measurement. That's 11.5. Okay, so I have 12 inches here, so I can have something to play around with. I have 12 here. It has to be at least 12 inches. That's 12 here. Yes. Okay, because the material is not straight, so it's a bit difficult for me to get it right, and it's a stretchy fabric actually. So, and I said that the gown length is 41 plus 3 inches seam allowance. That's what we are going to remove from the shoulder slant and the folding down here. I added 3 inches extra, that is 44. So right now I'll be looking for 44 inches. I actually wanted to use this edge as the length of the gown, so this is going to be my neckline area, or better still, no, let me use this area as my neckline area so there won't be any confusion. So here, let me get my chalk. Here I'll have 44. That's 44 here. That's 44. And then I will, please give me a ruler. Give me this ruler. So this is where I'm working with. I'm trying to get the length out of the way. That's the length. That's where I am working with. So now let's go get the neckline. We're going to get the neckline, the shoulder, and the armhole. Neckline, shoulder, shoulder slant, and armhole. That's what we are going to be getting right now. And before we do that, we said our shoulder, what we are using is 7.5. Now this is 7.5 here. 7.5 here. And then the neckline is going to be a cream neckline. So I'll be using 3.5 inches by 4 inches. This is 3.5 here. 3.5 width, 4 inches depth. 3.5 width, 4 inches depth. Then I'll use the curve ruler to connect it. this is the front side that we are doing. The front side of the dress is going to, the neckline is going to choke a little. That's why it's called a crew neckline. I hope this is reflecting on my camera. Now this is the shoulder. From here to here is the shoulder. That is why you have to use the back side of the dress. Normally you're not supposed to use a marker, you're supposed to use a chalk, but because of the sake of the video, it's not reflecting, chalk is not reflecting, that's why I'm using this. Then yeah, so I have 4 inches as the shoulder here. I have 4 inches as the shoulder. So by the time I finish sewing, I'll use 1/2 inch to hold the hand of the dress. It becomes 3.5, which is normal. This is 4 inches here. Now we said we are using, when you are doing round sleeve measurements, you usually do 2 measurements. The largest measurement, which is the armhole side, here we have 16, and divided by 2 is 8 inches. So we are marking 8 inches from this shoulder line. We mark 8 inches here, so we can get, I think it's better, let me look for a white chalk instead. Okay, so now I have a white chalk. Like I said the armhole is 16 inches divided by 2, which is 8, and I have 8 here. I've already marked my 8. So what I'm going to do is mark 8 here too, and then I rule. The white chalk is reflecting, right? Better. So I rule it this way. This is the armhole. There's going to be a curve here, but before we get here, let's do other measurements that we need here. Now before we get this out of the way, let's do our shoulder slant. I'm going to be using 1 inch as the shoulder slant. This helps the shoulder side of the dress to rest well, to not be standing, to help it rest well. That's the shoulder slant. So now I'm going to try to get, we're going to get the shoulder to the bust, and here we say shoulder to bust is 10 inches. So we mark 10 inches here, 10 inches here, because we're going to rule the line. 10 inches here, 10 inches. Remember that we folded, this is shoulder to the bust. Now after we have gotten shoulder to the bust, we need to get the half length. Usually if we're doing a bustier measurement, we'll be looking for shoulder to under bust, but for the sake of the gown, we are not doing a bustier measurement. We are going straight to the half length, and the half length is 15 inches. So I have half length here, 15 inches for half length. You're supposed to do all of these measurements before you start doing the round part of the measurement. So this is 15 inches, 15 inches half length. Half length depends on what your half length is. For half length for this dress that we are making is 15 inches. After we have gotten this, we are going to try to get the hip line. Now usually some people will measure from shoulder to the hips, but what I do is I take 7 inches. If the person is slim, I take 7 inches from the half length, but if the person is very big, I take 9 inches from the half length. So this is 7 inches, and if you want to do a direct, it will be like 20 or 22 inches from the shoulder to hip line. See, this is 22.5. So this is the hip line. There's something I always like to do. I always like to do the under hip. Most people don't do that, but I like to do the under hip line, so that when I'm trying to get the straight part of the dress, the downside of the dress, I want to get like a straight line. Yes, okay, like I said, I like to do under hip, so that when I'm trying to get the shape for the straight parts, it will not come out wrongly. So the under the hips, from here I will take 8 inches because the person is not very big. So I will do 8 inches under hip. Person is not a big person. If it's a big person, I'll take like 9 inches or 10 if the person is a very big person. So this is for under the hip, measurement. So now, and we have the length. Now let's do all of the round measurement. This is the bust measurement. Whatever we do here is what we are doing here. This is the bust measurement. So the bust is 35 inches. We said divided by 4 is 8.5 plus 2. So we are using 10.5 as the bust. 10.5 because we added extra 2 inches. So this is 10.5 here. Whatever I do here is what I'm going to do at the armhole. Remember, your armhole and your bust line, they are almost at the same place. And then this is the round waist. Half length and round waist, they work intertwined. Remember that, half length and round waist. So the last round waist is 30 inches. And we said divided by 4 gave us 7.5 plus 2 inches. We have 9.5 inches. So we'll mark our 9.5 here. This is 9.5. And then the hip line. Now the hip line, the hip is 38 inches divided by 4, 9.5 plus 2, that's 11 and a half. So we are marking 11 and a half inches at the hip line. Now whatever we mark here, this is 11 and a half. Whatever we mark here is what we are marking under the hip. Whatever we mark here is the same thing we are marking under the hip. So the hip line, under the hip line, we still have 11.5 inches. Now this is where the ish is. This is the length of the dress. Now the dress is going to be a pencil dress. It's going to be a pencil dress. Now we have 11.5 here. What we are going to do here now is to remove 2 inches from here and put it here. Remove 2 inches from 11.5. That means we will have 9.5. So this is 9.5 here. We have removed 2 inches from here to this place, so it will help it have a pencil shape. Now let's connect everything that we have marked. This is the bust line. Let me use this ruler. This is the bust line. I'm connecting the bust line. Now connect the bust line to the half length. Connect bust line to half length. From here I'll connect it to the hip line. Then I'll connect it to under the hip line. I hope the chalk is reflecting. Then I'll connect it. Now this, I'll be needing this ruler. This is where the pencil of the dress is. So now you see that you have a pencil dress. Now don't forget that this is the front line of the dress. Now for there to be a little curve here, I'm going to do this so that there will be a little curve. Now don't forget, we have not done the armhole. Now this armhole curve, what I usually do is, because this is 8 inches, if it's 9 inches I take 5, if it's 8 inches I take 4 from here, and then I connect from here to here. To make it easier, I'll do 1.5 inches here. See where I put my 1.5 here, 1.5 here. This is where 1.5 will be. You mark this and connect this from here. You connect from here like this to this place. Sometimes you can use ruler. If you are not very good at drawing, you use ruler, connect this way and this way. If you have a curved ruler, it's always better you use a curved ruler. But for those of us that doesn't have a curved ruler, that's why I did this. You see that? That's why I did that. For those that doesn't have a curved ruler, that's why I did that. So now we have the front side of the dress. Remember, this is the armhole, the neckline, shoulder slants, the armhole, and then we have the bust. We have the that's the half length, which is the round waist, hip line, under hip, then the side of the dress on the back part. Now the thing is, because there's going to be zip on this dress, we are adding extra 1.5 inches from the original measurement of the front side. So this is the front dress, this is the front dress that we just cut out now. See, that's the front dress. So this is 1.5 here, 1.5. You add extra 1.5 to the length of the dress. Now for, please can I have the white chalk? Okay, so like I said, ordinarily what I would have done is just cut it out, but for the sake of some of us that might find difficulty in cutting it out like that, so what we are going to do is, as this is here, we're going to trace it out with our white chalk. But first of all, let's get the neckline. The neckline for the back most times is not the same as the front. So now I'm using 1.5. Most people use 1 yard when they are doing their back neckline, but sometimes I like to use 1.5, because after taking 1.5 inch seam allowance, there will be almost nothing remaining. So this is 1.5 inches here for the neckline. So what I will do is, I've marked the 1.5. I'll trace it from here. Or better still, I use the curve ruler. I'll use the curve ruler, but it's always advisable to use your hand. See? So I have that. Then I'll trace out this. This material is stretchy, so it might give you a little stress if you are using a stretchy fabric or a chiffon fabric. So you trace it out this way. The reason for the trace or placing and cutting is so that, for example, the armhole is going to be the same thing, and not one will be longer than the other. If it's an Ankara dress or a thick dress, it might not give you the kind of stress that is giving me here, because this is the stretching material. But if it's a chiffon material, I bet you will have this kind of stress or more stress than this. Please don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel, like our videos, drop a comment, let us know where we're not doing it right. And I hope to God this time I'm speaking as slow as possible, because I heard some of us complain that I'm a fast talker. So I will remove this. You see that? And then that's what I'm going to cut out. I hope that's reflecting on the camera. So this is what I'll be cutting out here. Usually we are supposed to slit the back this way. Okay, lest I forget, I've already forgotten, but now that I've remembered, let me do it. But I prefer to do it with the front side. But before that, let me slit this first. This is the back side. I'm going to slit it this way. Because that's where our zip is going to be. So let me get this out of the way first. I forgot to do the dart. It's very necessary for some dresses, though this is a stretchy dress, but for the sake of the style that we are making, it's supposed to have that. So now I'm going to take 4 inches from here. The dart is supposed to start from exactly at the bust. So I'm using 12 inches. That's the way I do it anyway. 12 inches from the shoulder. That's to say, I'm taking 2 inches away, 2 inches from this what is it called, from the bust line. That's the bust line. 2 inches here, 2 inches from the bust line, below the bust line. I take 2 inches below the bust line, then I mark 4.5 inches here, because I don't want this to be the what is it called, the dart to be too long. I'm going to do 8 inches of the dart. That's to say, I'm taking 2 inches away from here, from the hip line, 2 inches from the hip line, and then I mark 4.5 here. 2 inches from the above the hip line, you mark 4.5 width. 2 inches above the hip line, then 2 inches below the bust line, and then you mark 4.5 inches. After marking 4.5, you look for the center point. Now this is 8 inches. The center point is 4 inches. That's the center point, is 4 inches. Then you mark 4.5 at the center point and rule it. Please let me have that ruler. Then you rule this way. Now this is 4.5 inches width, 4.5 inches width, 8 inches depth, 2 inches below bust line, 2 inches above hip line. So what I will do now is I will take 0.5 inches at the center point. This is the center point of 8 inches. I will take 0.5 inch here, 0.5 inch here, and 0.5 inch at this other side too. That's the center point. So what we will do is we will connect it this way. From here, we connect it like this. That's going to be our dart to this place too. That's the dart. It gives it shape at the round waist area and the bust line. Makes it balance well, because this is not a, see that? Because this is not a, what is it called, a bustier dress, so we need this to give it the shape. This is our dart. I hope it's clear enough now. Whatever you do here is the same thing that you're going to do at the back side. Now, okay, so this is called facing. Like when you want to turn the dress, instead of using lining, and this dress is not going to have lining, so I'm doing a facing for it. So what I'm going to do is just to trace the neckline that we already have here. Let me use marker because that thing is not showing very well. So I'm going to trace the neckline that we have here for the facing. Then shoulder slant and a little of this place. So I'll cut this out like this. This is for the front line, for the front of the dress. I'm going to make it look a bit curvy. So I'll take 4 inches. You can make it 3 if you like. 4 inches here. I want it to be curved, so I'll do it this way. It will look like a cape, but this is going to be inside the dress. Let me show you something. So when I want to sew, I'll put it this way. You will sew this way, take 1/2 inch and sew this way, turn it to the other side. So you don't need to use you do the same thing for the back side. You do the same thing for the back side. Let's do it while we're still here. I'll use this remaining part for the back side of the dress. It's so slippery. So I have the two of the fabrics actually here. So I place it here. You can trace it out if you want. Let me use one. This case, I'm going to cut this into two because it's the back side. So 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inches and 1/2 inch, sorry, and turn. Sorry, pin to the front. Pin it to the front side. So when you sew it, you turn it this way. It's called facing. You can use needle and thread to do the tacking. I will teach you that one in our subsequent videos. Thank you very much. Okay, so what I will do is I will use this particular part of the fabric for the other side of the hand, because one hand is going to be flare and one hand is going to be the normal sleeve but very short. So I'm going to use this for the sleeve, the other side of the sleeve. So her sleeve is 6 inches round. That's 12 inches, sorry, that's her sleeve. But the round sleeve is 8 inches. Remember, it's 8 inches that we use for the armhole. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, get the length of the sleeve. The length of the sleeve is supposed to be like 6 inches. So I'm using 8 because of folding. So I mark 8 inches here and I rule it so that I know what I'm working with. Now, I said the sleeve is 12 inches and 12 divided by 2 is 8. So I'm going to be using 7.5 because I want like a 1.5 inch. Okay, sorry, so the sleeve is 12 inches. So 12 divided by 2 is 6 inches. But I'm using 7.5. I'm adding extra 1/2 inch because the fabric is folded into 2. I'm using extra 1.5 inches. So I have 6 here, 7.5 here too. Then this is the armhole side. Remember we said the armhole is 8 inches. That's what we used over there. So I'm going to do SS so we can have something to sew with. This is like a normal sleeve. So to make it easy for us, I mark it here. Then we take like 2 inches from this line. 2 inches from this line. Put it this way. I'm using 9 inches. Remember I said the round sleeve is 8 inches, but I'm using 9 inches. That's like an extra. Then you mark it here. It's going to be a normal sleeve. Then connect this one. Connect to the 7.5. See that? We have a sleeve. We marked from here to here. We marked 8 inches. That's what we marked because we want the original measurements, the original sleeve to be 6 inches. So that 8 inches, what I did at this side is I removed 2 inches below, 2 inches here, then connected from this side to this place to give it that sharp edge. So this is the sleeve for one side of the hand. Now let's go and get the flare part of the hand. One hand is going to be flare and the other, yeah, so up to 12 inches or more. Yeah, 12 inches is good. I'm going to fold it up to 12 inches. Normally, what we are supposed to do is this 12 inches here folded into 2, that's 24. That's from here is 24. So what I needed actually is 24. That's 12 here. What we need is 12 by 15. That's 24 inches long, 24 inches length, that's depth, then 15 inches width. 24 inches length, 15 inches width. So we have folded the 24 inches now, is now 12 inches. So what we will do is we will mark the round sleeve, we said is 8 inches. So we are going to divide it into 4. So 8 divided by 4, I have 4, then I have 2 inches. You see, 8 divided by 4 is 2. But what I'm going to do now, because this fabric is folded into 4, so I'm going to do 3 inches because I need seam allowance. So I'll take 3 here, I'll take 3 here, I'll take 3 here. This is going to be the cutaway. Then I mark 8 inches. What I need for the sleeve is, sorry, what I need for the sleeve is 9 inches. So I mark my 9 here, mark my 9 here, mark my 9 here, mark my 9 here. So I have 9 inches. So let's check. Is it working? Okay, so I'm cutting it out. Please don't forget to subscribe on our video, on our YouTube channel, like our videos, drop your comments and let us know how you feel about what we have been doing and what we need to correct. Follow us on our other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. And always wash your hands, keep a social distance, wear your nose masks when you're going out. Let's help cut the spread of coronavirus. In fact, let's help drive it away from